Bada boom, realest guys in the room. How you doing? And you can't teach that.
What is up, diehards? Wes Monell in the building for Awol Sports with the NFC Cellar edition. Talking about the four teams that finished last in their divisions. Philadelphia at 7-9, the upgrades they need to make. Carolina 6-10, how wildly inconsistent are they? Chicago went 3-13, but I like the direction they're going. And San Francisco, starting from scratch after a 2-14 season. So, going in that order by record. Upgrades for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you don't know, middle linebacker Jordan Hicks looks well on his way to be an upper tier player at his position. Yeah, the Eagles got some solid production from Nigel Bradham, and they probably could get away with starting him again. As for the other side, Michael Kendricks has been in the doghouse, and it doesn't seem like he'll be on the roster, let alone be slated to start in 2017. I'm going to point to someone very talented, but of course, this can't be the only plan. Joe Walker, who went to Oregon, had a good camp last year before tearing his knee in August. He missed all of 2016. It's going to take him time to get back to what he was, so that can't be the only option that the Eagles set their sights on. Just like they overhauled the O-line the past couple of seasons, they're actually 10 deep now there. The linebacker position needs some TLC as well. Walker is a guy that I like, but his best game probably won't show until the second half of the season or even the following year. Whether it be by draft or some plug-and-play veteran free agent, such as Bradham, outside linebacker should be a top 3 priority. The other two being cornerback and running back. Also, keep in mind, I'm just trying to put a talent on the field when it comes to Walker. He's played at middle linebacker. I'm certainly confident in having him as a backup to Hicks, but if he can regain form, why keep him on the sidelines? Sticking with the defense, cornerback is the glaring weakness on the team. I will caution you. Yes, the draft is deep in the secondary. I do expect them to come out with a couple of corners. Just keep in mind that they do like how Jalen Mills was growing as a rookie. The 7th rounder found his way to significant playing time. Ron Brooks played solid, a guy familiar with the defensive scheme. A couple of reminders as well. They added Dwayne Gratz, the former Jaguar, and signed Aaron Grimes from the CFL. Maybe only camp bodies. That remains to be seen. Gratz is someone that I watched more in 2014 since I've been one of the early guys on the Jags rebuilding bandwagon. I thought he was solid enough to be on the field. He was a 3rd round pick and has starting experience, just like Mills. Not bad. Grimes was a CFL champion and all-star standout. In 2014 and 2015, he allocated 8 interceptions, 1 from a playoff game. As for NFL experience, last preseason against the Steelers, he snagged an interception in the end zone. So I can't tell you if they're going to bring in 2 new starters or not, but definitely 2 more cornerbacks to compete. One will absolutely be an instant starter, though. I know. Don't I know it? All the hype about Alshon Jeffrey especially, and also Torrey Smith to an extent. You've heard enough about their specific abilities. You've watched them play, all of that. What I'm shedding light on, and you may have heard, how great of a leader Smith is in the locker room. Hopefully Smith can get Nelson Aguilar to improve. Maybe Jeffrey can show Dorial Green Beckham how to play at that size. That's part of the maturation process for younger players, having that veteran to mimic and follow film room, weight room, practice field. Yeah, that's if DGB doesn't get cut, so we'll see. How great would that be if wide receivers coach Mike Groh can get DGB to develop and these younger guys to develop? Groh worked with Jeffrey for a couple of years in Chi-Town and helped Kenny Britt to his first 1,000-yard campaign of his career in 2016. All good signs. And yes, Jordan Matthews in the slot is what everyone would prefer. Everyone that's concerned with the Eagles. I expect Jeffrey to play at a high level. I expect Smith to catch some deep balls. I expect Matthews to do damage with that yak underneath if he's there. I was frustrated with Aguilar as early as the first few games of last season. We all know how that story unfolded. But I like the situation right now for the entire receiving core. It would be great if Aguilar, who was a first-round pick, can start to catch on, but at this point, that should be considered a cherry on top. If it means anything to you, I think these guys, these young guys, have to outplay Paul Turner to stay on the roster, mainly DGB and Bryce Treggs. They're going to keep Aguilar for this season at least. Matthews is more likely than not to remain, I would think. If he does get traded, that would signal to me that they want to keep working with DGB. But I like what I've seen from Turner. He's got a good feel for the game. He has the instincts to play backyard football with Carson Wentz when plays break down. And to that same degree, that's why I like Trey Burton. He provides that scramble drill ability that Zach Ertz doesn't really have yet. Inconsistency with the Carolina Panthers. 6-10. Not the results they were expecting after winning the NFC and losing in the Super Bowl. It is what I expected, however. This was the team I remember getting blown out in prime time back in 2014. In 2012, they went 7-9 and missed the postseason. Then they won 3 consecutive division titles in 2013, 14, and 15. They may have won the NFC South in 2014, but there was a big difference in how they played from the other 2 years that they won it. In 2014, they were simply the survivor, the team to win the division with a record of 7-8-1. And that tie game gave them the nod over the 7-9 Saints. 2015 was their fantastic 15-1 season. Storybook, Cam Newton won league MVP, and they rode a season-long hot streak into the big game. Before 2013, no NFC South team had won back-to-back titles, and the Panthers put an end to that. What kind of team will we see in 2017? This team couldn't pass the ball. They were dead last in trying to defend against the pass. Luke Kuechly going down is going to leave a glaring hole, that's for sure. They overplayed their hand with the Josh Norman situation, I think. And their deep threat, Ted Ginn Jr., just signed with the rival Saints. The Panthers are hoping some ties will improve their play. Center Ryan Khalil is good. We all know it. His brother Matt, he's been struggling, leaves the Vikings, comes to Carolina, and they hope he can be their answer on the blind side. He wasn't really playing well. He's been getting banged up. It's not going to be a pretty smooth plug-and-play scenario, but they're counting on his 5-time Pro Bowl brother to help him out up there. The other tie that I'm referring to, they brought back Julius Peppers. Yeah, he's up there in age, but he's still productive. The front 7 is nasty. They're going to be in every game. They may even be solid enough at safety, but the cornerback position needs an upgrade. I would say corner, O-line, and running back are the only things that they really need to add to the roster. Even then, it won't matter if Cam can't grow as a quarterback. He can't run around forever, take all of those hits forever, and it doesn't always equate to wins when he's successful. Just when he gets his doesn't mean it's wins. We have yet to see him get injured for the season or anything like that, so we can all knock on wood, especially if you're a Panthers fan or even Newton himself. There's no excuse, though, for the former MVP. Yeah, the O-line needs to play better, but there's worse units around the league than his. Yeah, Jonathan Stewart is solid, not great, but there's worse out there. They will likely add to the backfield in the second wave of free agency or in the draft, likely the draft. The receivers are big targets, big catching radius. Greg Olsen also, he's elite. Defenses are gonna stack the box if Newton can't complete a deep ball. And remember, Ginn isn't there. So if signing wideouts Charles Johnson and Russell Shepard doesn't deter them, they should probably look at finding a Ginn replacement. I look at their secondary and I expect inconsistency. The same can be said for every unit on the offensive side of the picture. I know they rank 12th on the ground, but if they can really stabilize the ground game beyond what Cam can do and his contributions, not only will it go hand in hand with their strong front seven and allow them to continue with that identity, they should help Cam and the receivers by utilizing more play action. Not every pass has to be some 10 to 15 yard dig or fade, essentially. Shorten the routes to 5 to 7 yards, put Cam in a better situation with the spotty O-line, have him rolling out, and you'll get easier opportunities at those deep passes. The rest is on Newton, though, for him not to play hero ball for the majority of the games. If Newton is capable of developing more as a passer, he'll be able to play less hero ball and more team ball, and they'll be better. Direction of the Chicago Bears. So the Bears are going to roll with Mike Glennon, a guy with some starting experience at the NFL level. It's a total Bears thing to do when you really think about it, considering the past between Ryan Pace, the past for John Fox, and I spoke on that before, if you want to go back and give it a listen. I knew they were going to target a quarterback already in the league, not so much go the rookie route. The Bears built an offensive line and found their starting running back in the 5th round last year. Jordan Howard came on strong for 1,300 yards, 7 games over 100 yards, 7 total touchdowns, and nearly 300 yards receiving. This offseason, they pick up Deion Sims, a blocking tight end that complements Zach Miller. I like the flashes from wideout Cameron Meredith, who finished just shy of 900 yards as a rookie with a mess at the helm. Josh Bellamy can be a role player. He can get open down the field. The first-rounder Kevin White is someone they expect big things from. 4 games in 2 seasons isn't a great start to a career, so hopefully he can get healthy, stay healthy. And so far his best game is 6 receptions for 62 yards. This offseason, Chicago picked up Kendall Wright and Marcus Wheaton. Wright is entering his 6th season. Back in 2013, he topped 1,000 yards. Guys, that was with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Jake Locker. The names aren't going to woo anyone on the Bears. On the down low, however, I kind of like the direction they're going on offense. One that scored the 4th fewest points, ranked 19th in rushing, But that was with Jordan Howard going for 1,300. They should be okay there. The line is good. 13th in passing. Probably because they were trailing so much. And unless Glennon goes all Brock Osweiler or Matt Schaub, it could only get better, you would think. Defense has been the priority with this team. 6th against the pass. Definitely a Vic Fangio and John Fox defense. They definitely need to get some muscle inside to stop the run. They were the 6th worst. It doesn't help to play from behind and allow other teams to run more and to use the clock. Here's the deal. They went 3-13 with a mess under center and a bunch of young players on offense. New faces all over the defense. So let's see. Out of those 13 losses, 8 of those were one-possession games. Those 8 games, plus the 3 that they actually won, that's 11 games where they were in a position to win. Those are the signs you have to look at when rebuilding and to gauge how far along you truly are. I call Coach Fox the troubleshooter for a reason. Even-keeled, and that's the identity that his teams play with. They rebuilt the trenches. Still could add a couple more D linemen to help contain the run and a safety. They've already addressed cornerback in free agency this year, inside linebacker in free agency last year. They're being smart about the process. San Francisco, starting from scratch. First-time GM, John Lynch. First-time head coach, Kyle Shanahan. Navarro Bowman will be healthy to start the season. And more good news, the defense will play better now that Chip Kelly is gone, and the offensive tempo will resemble something more traditional. So where is this team good? For starters, the O-line will be better without playing at such a fast pace. They have a pretty good group. Left to right, Joe Staley, Zane Beadles. They traded for center Jeremy Zuda, Josh Garnett, and Trent Brown. That's a good unit. Now to the rest of the offense. Shanahan brings in familiar faces to help with the rebuild. Quarterback Brian Hoyer, receivers Pierre Garçon and Aldrick Robinson, and tight end Logan Paulson. That's what you got to do to show the rest of the team the new offensive concepts. A blend of starters, some stopgap starters, and backups that know the system, that can help lead the locker room and the younger players. That's a great approach on how to rebuild. We're going to find out what Carlos Hyde is made of after rushing for 988 and 9 total touchdowns last season. He's going to get the first opportunity. He won't be the only back getting snaps and touches. Shanahan will take you out if you're not productive. We've seen that in Cleveland, Washington, and in the ATL. Kyle Juszczyk is a fullback that they signed to be a Swiss Army knife. He'll be blocking, toting the rock, and a safety outlet in the flats for whoever plays at quarterback. Another addition is speedster Marquise Goodwin at wideout. They may not have the marquee names on offense, but they were smart to allocate a lot of different talents that they'll be able to integrate and be creative with. The 49ers do have a few pieces to build around defensively, aside from Bowman, and they may be interested in getting a solid backup for him. Up front, Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner. Then on the back end, safety Eric Reed. Teams with a lot of upgrades to make will usually address one side of the ball in free agency and the other on draft weekend. For the most part, they've gotten their offensive-minded coach some veterans to work with offensively. They'll probably draft a quarterback at some point, running back 2, and definitely a pass rusher. I think they go with the best player available with the second overall pick. That's what you should do. Avoid mistakes. Myles Garrett is who they hope would fall. He's likely to get drafted first overall to Cleveland. Just bring in the best guy. Don't force the QB pick there. Jonathan Hankins on the D-line from Alabama. One of the many top talents in the secondary. They're all over. Could be a safety, could be a corner. Maybe even surprise us with a running back. Looking at all the signs, though, I see them going defense. Here's what I looked up as it pertains to Kyle Shanahan being a part of a team and who they drafted during his first year with them. Just looking for some trends here. He wasn't the ultimate decision maker, I know, but just looking for trends. In 2006 with the Texans, they selected defensive end Mario Williams first overall. Something to note, in that same draft class, Houston came away with DeMeco Ryans, Eric Winston, and Owen Daniels, all starters. In 2010 with the Redskins, left tackle Trent Williams was their cornerstone pick. They didn't have another pick until the 4th round, where they got a starting linebacker in Perry Riley. Then, Cleveland 2014, cornerback Justin Gilbert in the 1st round, along with QB Johnny Manziel. So they took a shot on a quarterback, just not with their top pick. They didn't force it. Round 2, lineman Joel Bitonio, who just received an extension with the Browns. They also picked up starting linebacker Christian Kirksey, a running back that got rotated in and out, started some games, Terrence West. The latest, the Falcons in 2015, drafting pass rusher Vic Beasley 8th overall. Then going corner with Jalen Collins in the 2nd. Tevin Coleman, the running back, in the 3rd round. They also got Grady Jarrett later on, who set a Super Bowl record with 3 sacks. When San Francisco goes quarterback or running back, I don't believe they're going to force it. I think the O-line is good enough to not draft one high. At least not to draft an O-lineman high. So that points to the defense, and they're not going to go linebacker there. Not that high. Not number 2. It's going to come down to who they perceive as the best player on the board behind Myles Jack. D-line or DB. And again, I'll say the wild card is if they fall in love with Leonard Fournette. That's going to do it for this NFC Cellar edition. The Eagles are in the thick of things in the NFC East. They went 7-9 without a receiving core and have a franchise quarterback. Carolina, I don't know what to expect from their offense, but that front 7 will give them a chance to win every week. I don't view the Falcons as the clear front runner in the NFC South going into 2017. Chicago is quietly rebuilding a talented team on both sides of the ball, and the 49ers are doing the right things this offseason so far as we head into the draft on Thursday, April 27th, just over a month away. As always, thank you for tuning in, diehards. I enjoy coming on the air with you. Awol Sports on Facebook, Awol_West on Twitter. You can even check out the Awol Sports Podcast, a playlist on YouTube. Check it out. Talk to me. Have an awesome weekend.